So today I'm bringing you guys just something special. This is an interview with M.L. Burns, who is a dark romance author. She is from the United States, but she lives in Madrid, Spain, and is a close friend of mine. And she has various series out. She has the Hourglass Keeper series, and she also has the Filthy Duet, which starts with All Your Bloody Lies. So if you're interested in dark romance, I'd say stay and listen to what she has to say about her writing process, her books, and just stay. Put your hand on a dirty book. Okay.
Wait, wrong one. Wrong one. This one. There we go.
I'm gonna use the dirtiest one. Put your hand on a dirty book. Okay.
Wait, wrong one. Wrong one. This one. There we go.
I'm gonna use the dirtiest one. So, Melissa, I'm going to be interviewing you, asking you different questions about yourself as an author, as a person, and just like your relationship with books and your relationship with writing. Why don't you tell me and tell everyone who sees this video a little bit about you as a person and kind of what brought you into writing?
Okay. So I have been writing for about 20 years, and now it seems like I am pretty old.
Wow.
Everyone. That's fine. I know, 20 years, but I started off doing text-based role playing. So like anybody knows what that is. If you don't, it's basically where you write with another person a story. So you're one character, they're another character, and things like that. So I write half a story with somebody else. And I always wanted to write a book, but I just was like, meh, it'll never happen. So it was a dream, but one that I never like strove to do because, well, I grew up where it was like, you have to make money. And like, that's probably not going to be where you make money. So we're going to focus on sports. You're going to focus on going to college. So that's what I did. So I went to college for criminology and criminal justice, completely out of the scope of
Wow.
writing.
Okay. Oh my
So
gosh.
out of the, yes, I wanted to work for the FBI, but that didn't obviously end up working out, but that's okay. So I ended up going into like compliance. So now I do something again completely away from writing. But when I moved to Spain, which is where I'm at now from the United States, I was like, you know what? I read the ACOTAR series. I was like, I can do this. I literally said I could do this. And so I, well, started writing a book. And then I read Haunting and Hunting Adeline, and I was like, I can make it dark. And yeah, The Hourglass Keeper was made. And so I'm now a self-published author. That is my journey of 20 years, basically.
Melissa, you go by M.L. Burns for your pen name, correct? So how many books do you have on the market currently?
I have published 4 books, and then I've published 1 co-written book. So total of 5.
5 books.
Yes.
Wow. And total, and how long and at what period of time has this?
I published my first one November of 2023. So like a year and a couple of months. Yeah. I know.
You breathe.
And they're not small books either. So
oh my god. Okay.
Well, one
all
is,
right.
but other than that, but yeah.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah, just yeah. So what drew you to dark romance then itself? Because you said you started out with like reading ACOTAR and you're like, I can do this. Okay. But there's a big difference between Sarah J. Maas and the kind of books that you've put out with the different kinds of materials and tropes, we're going to say, that go along with it. So what really drew you to this kind of dark romance spiciness?
Trauma. No, but no. I didn't even know those type of books existed. So I grew up like on I grew up reading fluffy stuff. You know, like I didn't know anything like Harry Potter, things like that. I didn't know dark romance existed. And my first dark romance book was Haunting Adeline. And I didn't even, again, I didn't know tropes existed. I didn't know anything like that when I picked up books 2 years ago, picked up books. But I don't know. I find that mixing a little bit of reality with the fiction portion, and it draws me in, right? So like obviously a lot of the things that happen in a fantasy book, actually majority of it can't, but in some aspect it can in reality. So like I like kind of blending the two. And so that's why I went for the darker side of my mind to bring that to
Okay.
light.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that kind of goes into my next question is how do you kind of balance the darkness and romance in your books? How do you kind of keep that balance there? Not too much of one, not too much of the other.
Well, I guess it depends on which relationship we're talking about
Okay.
in the books because there's definitely a wide scope of it. So um I'm a writer that lets my characters do the writing. I'm a pantser. I don't plot. I mean, I plot in the sense that like I know where I'm going, but that's about it.
Hmm.
I know the start and I know the finish, but I
Okay.
let my characters take charge. So if you look at, I know that you're currently reading The Hourglass Keeper. If you look
I
at Cade, you
am.
can
Yes. I would
you
love to
can
look at
compare
Cade.
him.
Yes.
Yes. So if he's not really what you would consider like a dark MMC, at least
No.
where we're at right now, and he would be like the I don't know the golden boy, I suppose. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like the best way to describe him. So in the Keeper series, there's really not dark romance. It's there's a difference. So it's like dark fantasy romance versus
Okay.
dark romance fantasy, which I would
Hmm.
classify All Your Bloody Lies to be more
Yes.
on the dark romance side of fantasy versus the Keeper series. So there's not really dark romance elements in the Keeper series. There are from then later in the series, but
Hmm.
yeah. So it just depends on the character.
So sometimes we're using dark romance and sometimes romance dark that has dark or
Yes,
dark fantasy going with it then.
exactly. Yep, that's exactly
Um,
it.
and do you have a preference when writing? Like now that you have oh, more than several books out there so far. Like, what kind of do you have a preference in what you like to write or where you like to go towards?
So I think that my readers would agree when I say this. I am huge with writing my MMCs. Like I'm a
Mhm.
woman. Writing women comes very easy to me. So I feel like they flow nicely. With my men, I take a lot more time, and I don't actually have a preference. I have golden retrievers. I have dark, morally black men, morally gray men, very
Morley
light,
Black.
fluffy
Okay.
men. I would say like Draven from Desperate Run is my morally black MMC. I have
Hmm.
Heavy coming out, which is contemporary, but I would consider him between morally gray and morally black. But I have characters like Cade, who are, like I said, golden retriever, very, very good men, good. They're all good men. And then
Good boy.
Sam, who I won't spoil, but Sam, who is morally gray in the Keeper
Hmm.
series, they span across. So, what is my preference? I don't really have a preference. I like them all. I'll write them all.
Okay.
Blonde, black haired, brown haired, all of them.
So having the previous conversations I've had with you, you basically have said the characters are in your head, and you. Um, so how do they come from your head and paper, and where did they come from in your head? Like how I know it's different for every book that you have different characters. You have a lot of different characters, different books, but like how do they? Where do they come from? Where are you getting? Do you have like the space in your mind where this world exists and then it just flows out, or kind of how do you make this happen?
Usually, it comes from like a small idea, like a single sentence. I wrote All Your Bloody Lies based off of one little idea of having a succubus and a vampire. That's literally it. And I was like, it's a revenge story. That's all I knew. They do live forever in my head. I finished the duet, but Kyrese and Zara will forever just have a little place in my head. Um, I would say that they do vie for attention, but it depends on what I'm doing. I can like settle
Okay.
the characters from talking to me, or I can just let them come in from time to time. And I know that makes me sound so crazy, but I'm not the only author that does this, that has this problem.
What about the world building itself then? How do you So you say you decided vampire succubus revenge story. How did you decide the setting for that? Like, where does this just like naturally come out? Where do you find the names? Like, how does this work for you?
I usually play around with names, but I don't pick
Hmm.
them right away. I
Okay.
actually create the characters. I look at reference photos and I'm like, okay, this feels like my vibe. And then I'll kind of run through, I'll run through names in my head. I'll look at like combining names without making it too obnoxious. Um, I know that it seems hard to say some names that I do, but I'm like, okay, if I can, usually with like the pronunciation, I'll make it easy. Like some people are like, how do you say Kyrie's? And I'm like, it's Kai, and then think Reese's Pieces. Kai
Okay.
Reese.
Yeah.
So, um, and then as far as like the world, I know this is going to sound so crazy. It's obviously all different, but for all your
Mhm.
bloody lies, I created the world as I was writing the story, not prior. I knew I wanted it to be a modern fantasy where I didn't have to worry about telling people why there were no lights, why there were cars.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and so to make it really easy, but again, I know my start and I know my end. Like I knew exactly how I wanted all your bloody lies to end, and I knew how I wanted the second book to end too. But between that, I had no idea. I didn't know I was going to give Kyrie's a what kind of car he was going to drive. I had no idea. I just knew it was going to be a sports car, most likely. Um, and things like that. And then in regards to like my fantasy, where I have to build a whole world, that's a little different because obviously, like if they're traversing a world on a horse,
Yeah.
I can't say it only takes them 2 hours to get there when in reality it would probably take a couple of days. So
Uh,
it all depends.
okay. I was going to ask you about how do you, with timing and riding horses, because that's kind of what I'm in with the Hourglass Keeper. How do you like decide like it is this many days ride, or like have you Googled these things, or like how does this work for you?
Yeah, and I guess the one good thing about doing fantasy over contemporary is you can kind of fluff the line or like blur the line between like what do you think this length of time is,
Mhm.
because I'm writing a contemporary where they travel a lot, like they're on the run, and so
Yeah.
like I have to literally look and say like what's the distance between this state and this state, like how
So
long
you
will it take for
like
them to
Google
get to here,
mapping.
to Alaska. I have to literally because I just know that there's a reader out there that goes, no, I take that flight all the time. It takes 4 hours, not six. And I'm like, ugh. So, so for fantasy, you
You
can be a little bit more, you know, just trust my process or just
trust the
trust me when I say
process.
it
Trust.
takes only this long to get from here to there.
Okay. And maps,
Yeah.
how do you kind of decide the mapping then for
Um,
fantasy?
funny enough, if you actually look at the Hourglass Keeper's map,
I have it
it
right here.
is
Hold on.
it is South America. Actually, it's
Oh,
a piece.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
oh, it
I,
is. Okay.
yeah.
All
So
right.
when
We
I
have.
make maps, I actually look at our world because, like, I mean, in essence, it is our world. This is like what I know, right? This isn't
Yeah.
sci-fi. We're on another planet. It's just our world, but in a different universe, sort of thing.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much it. And nobody's been introduced to. I guess I can go a little spoiler into the second book of The Filthy Few
Exclusive
Wed,
content.
but the map in that is very, very like familiar. So there's no map in the first
Okay.
one, but I
Mm,
expand the world in the second book. And when people look at it, they're going to be like, "Oh my God!" And so like that revelation of where they're at is going to be really interesting. I'll be
that's
interested to
cool.
see if readers can recognize that.
Oh, all right. So we have a little Easter egg in the map there. That is,
Yes.
I like that. Okay. How do you approach consent and boundaries when you're working with dark romance? Because obviously it's a very sensitive subject and it it's really important. So kind of how do you go about that?
Yeah, first and foremost, it is extremely important for people to read trigger warnings. I mean, I put them in there. I take the time to talk with my sensitive readers about it and, you know, make sure that I give everyone the ability to be prepared for it, right?
Hmm.
People understand they're going into dark themes, and it really is on them to make sure that they're prepared, right? I can't prepare them more than that.
Of course.
But when I'm writing it, I'm not really heavy on full details of specific things on page.
Okay.
So, the Dragon's Keeper is probably the best example of this. There is a very tough scene that took me a really long time to write,
Mhm.
and I I just approach it as I would approach really anything tough. I just take my time and then I step away. And I also separate myself from like
Yeah.
my family. I say I have a very tough scene coming. Just, let me be me. Like, just,
Mhm.
but it's all about labeling it, in my opinion, because while I don't get triggered by a lot of things, there are very certain specific things that I do. I want to make sure that it's helping somebody that this possibly happened to. It's not
Okay.
just for it's for the story,
Mhm.
obviously, but it's got to be a meaningful reason for it to be there. I don't just throw in trauma just to throw in trauma and just be like,
Mhm.
for a reaction. I
Yeah.
dislike that when writers do that, like killing a character for no reason. Please, like, what was the point?
Yeah.
So like trauma is everyone has it in some form. It's just being very mindful of what is the reason for it and what was the purpose. And so I go
Yeah.
into it thinking that. Yeah.
So there's always like an intent with these things that you're putting into your book. Yeah, that's the trigger warnings. I absolutely loved when I read your book. I was like, it's like right in the third fourth page, trigger warnings, and my only note is damn exclamation mark. It's just. You ever struggle with making a love interest too dark or like unredeemable? Like, I know you're kind of a fan of a redemption arc, but do you ever like worry maybe I've gone too far and this person is beyond saving?
Um, oh, no, because I don't normally look at my readers when I'm writing my book. And so
Okay.
I don't think of their thoughts on a redemption arc. I think
Hmm.
of how my character wants, like, are they redeemable to Azahara? Are they redeemable to whatever, Seraphine? Just
Okay.
depends.
So you're looking within the
Um
relationships.
Exactly. I don't look at like
Hmm.
how other people would feel. And I can't. It's such a great question because of what's currently going on in the Keeper series, and
Hmm.
it is something that I did worry about. But again, I don't write based off of my readers. I write based off of my characters because that's doing them justice in the story justice.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't mean I don't worry about that, which I currently am right now. But
Oh no.
no, yeah, it's about them and their relationship and their story, not about the outside world. And that's just like any relationship in general. Like, I
That's
don't
true.
base my relationship with my husband off of how I would think anybody else would feel it be,
Hmm. Yeah.
So I stuck that into my books.
Okay. How do you develop strong, complex female main characters in your stories?
Um it's like I feel like a cop out answer. They develop themselves, and I guess when I think there's one thing about me as a reader and an avid movie and TV show watcher. I don't like cringe. Like,
Okay.
I have very bad secondhand embarrassment. And so
Hmm.
I spent a lot of time m making sure that my characters aren't like that. I feel like everyone's cringe level is like different. So like I'm sure what people see as me not like, oh, this isn't cringe, they will.
Hmm.
But I spend a lot of time making sure that my dialogue and my characters are true to themselves, but also like it's all a meaningful growth. In the beginning of the Hourglass Keeper, Azahara starts. I mean, you saw she's a kind person and
Yeah.
very, very sweet, and
Sweet,
that
happy with her
is
family. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, the things that happen to her obviously change her, but she still tries to embody that. Um, there's she's at the very foot of the stairs. And I
Mhm.
see the end goal as her making it very to the top. And so like what comes between the bottom and the top is I can't go back. Now, in reality, there are some times where we'll stumble backwards. And so I kind of look at each step as like, okay, where do I want her to be next in the next chapter, into the next book, and things like that.
Mhm.
So I try to look for an upward progression, but reality sometimes you stumble back. So I kind of do a teeter without 'cause the worst thing that could ever happen to a female character or a female main character is that them falling all the way back down to the bottom of the steps towards like book 3 or towards the end of the series. And so that's like my
Yeah.
main goal is to not have that happen.
How do you respond to readers who find dark romance as controversial?
I just move on. I mean, like it's the same thing as like you you finish watching your TV show and the next one comes on, turn the TV off or change a channel. Like I don't really understand why people have to step into a space that they don't want to be in.
Yeah,
It's very
I
obvious that
agree.
if you don't like it, don't just don't read it. Like we
Hmm.
me as a dark reader, I don't go into the fluffy space and be like, ugh, I would never. I could never imagine myself reading it. Like I don't that's not my genre that I lean towards, but I why would I go into their space and be like, mm, you're straight edge. Like
So
come
like
on. That's
no judgment, just like
yeah. Just enjoy
do
what you
do
want to
you do
enjoy.
you and
Yeah,
I'll do me, and that's it. Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's I
Exactly.
agree. That's totally the best way to go. Like, don't judge other people. Just let people be happy and read what they want. And if you don't like it, put it down or but
Yeah.
read a review, read it what it is before even getting it, you know? It's just
Thank you.
yeah. Mm.
Yes, I hate going into and seeing like from because obviously I have a lot of dark romance author friends. I hate
Mhm, of
going in
course.
and seeing that people review and be like, "This is so dark. There's C and C in here." Yeah, that they're
Yes.
oh my gosh, they're step siblings. Oh yeah, it was marketed like that. Like it's like mind blowing. It's like I don't understand.
If you wanted to compare it to something else, you could just be like somebody put in a in a review. Oh my god, this book about dragons has dragons.
That's exactly it. Like,
Right?
oh, okay. The cover
Okay.
had a dragon on it too. Okay, cool. All right.
What? I'm so
Oh,
insulted. There's a dragon in this dragon book, you know? I mean, it really, if you take it and put it in another context, it's the same thing, though. Yeah. Just people.
it's wild.
What advice would you give to somebody new to writing dark romance?
Oh, specifically dark romance. Oh boy.
Do
Oh.
you want me to step back? Let's step back.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no, no,
No?
no, no. It's
Okay.
it's okay. It's okay. I I would just say be sensitive, you know.
Hmm.
Obviously don't skimp out on the trigger warnings and I know that publishers, I don't see like a long list of them. They say like go to the website, but until that's like a thing that you have to do, put the trigger warnings on the front of the book. Just don't even question it, but write the book. Write it. You know, you'll find a target audience. Not everyone is going to want to read it, but somebody will. So I just say do it, but be mindful since you're in a very sensitive field, I guess.
If you could cast one of your book characters in a movie, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. So Florence Pugh for
Mm,
Azahara. I've never seen her with bright red hair, but I just feel like
hmm
she would embody all of the different stages of her.
hmm
Um, I feel like she would be the good, sweet girl, but then also the one we see later on in the series. I was looking at because I was creating this character guide for the all your bloody lies, and I came up with who I would want Seraphine to be cast as. And I thought it was great, Elizabeth Olsen. I feel
Okay.
like she would do such a good job as Zara, and I now I'm like obsessed with thinking about her playing her. So okay,
Show us your book. What do you got there?
This is Hourglass Keeper. It is the first book in the Keeper series, which is a
Mhm.
dark romantasy. So a dark fantasy romance. And what you can expect is a angry, obsessive god trying to get the girl. And it is not
Okay.
enemies to lovers. It is not
All
enemies
right.
to lovers. Everyone asks me, they're like, oh, is it enemies to lovers? No. He is a true villain. And that is one thing. I do like enemies to lovers, but I also love writing true villains. And you will get so many true villains in this. Like, you will hate them so much, but you'll love the MCs and strong
Okay.
female main character. There are 3 books out. So the second one is The Dragon's Keeper.
Mhm.
And then there's a novella right after this, which I totally forgot to grab, which is this one. It's
Oh,
the
that's
Keeper's
beautiful.
Moon.
Mhm.
Thank you. There's only one of these. And
Oh,
sorry.
there's only sorry, people. You cannot get this.
You can't get this.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. I know.
dang.
This is a novella and it follows a different POV and well, I can't tell you who, but
Okay, so
I
there's
can't
3
wait for you
books
to
out
get to
in this series,
Yes.
and from what I understand, there's another one that's coming out as well.
Yes, and it comes out
Mhm.
March 30th.
Oh.
And that is right around the corner, I swear. But there's going to be a total of there's going to be one more novella right after 3, but that one's going to be
Mhm.
very, very short in
Yeah.
comparison. Like this one was 200. And then there's going to be either 1 or 2 more. It just depends on if I want to split them up or not.
Okay.
I know. Yeah,
All
I
right.
know, yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Oh
My little
my,
baby
okay.
one. This is so tiny. So this is
Tiny.
All Your Bloody Lies. Like
Mhm.
in comparison, like this.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, this is a dark, I would say dark romance, but it's easier to say dark paranormal romance.
Okay.
And so this is succubus with a vampire love interest and lots of revenge, lots of blood, lots of trigger warnings. There's like
Mhm.
the full page of them. Yeah,
As one does.
this
Yes, of
this
course.
one's dark. This one's very dark.
Yes.
Please, for the love of anything, if you listen to anything I have to say, read the trigger warnings because it is not. And then the last book that I have is Desperate Run, and this is the one that I co-wrote with
Mhm.
CJ Riggs. This
Yeah.
is a erotic horror. So
That's the one I don't have. I need to get a copy of that.
So this one is not. So there is dark romance in this. Please,
Mhm.
there is romance elements, but I would classify it as an erotic horror because it is so much darker. So again,
Mhm.
for the love of everything, read the trigger warnings, people. But this one is dark carnival with a revenge plot and think saw mazes.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
That is awesome. I would like you to show, because this is something that I really, really enjoyed about All Your Bloody Lies, is the inside of the book. Because
Yes.
it is something that is original. It is very easy on the eyes. And look at that. It is, the pages are black with white lettering. It's in dark
You know
mode.
what?
Your dark book is in dark mode.
Yes, and so is Desperate Run. So
oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. We need more. We need more of that option in books. That's just so cool. Yeah,
I loved doing the formatting for them. It was a lot, though, a lot, but it was worth it. It was a lot of fun to do both.
If you guys read any of Melissa's books, you will see just how well formatted they are. There's bits and pieces everywhere. I talk to this girl every day, and she is literally like putting a lot of effort in it, and you can tell it pays off so well. It's just, her books are gorgeous, like just visually amazing. Not just, it's like you don't just see just not lines. There's pictures, there's text, there's diary entries. It's just amazing how like just into a book you can get like with it. It's just really well done. So yeah,
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. So I hopefully this is the right. Go to page 25.
Page 25.
It should be the end of a chapter.
Yes,
There's blood splatter on there
there
where there's a
is.
death.
Oh my gosh.
Minor
Look
things.
at this. Look at this. Look at how she does this. It is absolutely amazing. Oh, I
Thank
love
you.
it. Just guys, if you buy this book, just open. Just open to page. Hold on. Here's one. Open to page. Open to page 70. Look at this man and tell me that you don't want to read this book because, sir, daddy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Daddy,
time.
please.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. And where can we find your books? What's the best place for us to order your books or to support you? How can we do that?
On Amazon, unfortunately,
Amazon.
right now. Unfortunately, only Amazon because I live in Spain and shipping, not really. Yeah, I don't want to charge people more than what needs to be for the book, and shipping is wildly insane. So, Amazon,
So at the moment, Amazon. Perfect.
yes.
So that was our interview. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any comments or anything you'd like to ask Melissa, let me know because we can do that in another video in the future. But yeah, I definitely recommend reading her books. She puts so much effort into her writing, her editing, and formatting. It is absolutely amazing. Her books are just gorgeous, and she's just an all-around great person. So definitely check her out.